Hello, everyone. Today is March 6th, 2024. This is the Kubernetes data production working group meeting. So today we first just want to check the CPT status, and then we will discuss the presentation that Tom gave last time about volume replication. So about this, I thought I checked it yesterday. It looks like there was a comment for Carl to address the comments. Not sure if right. So Carl, there, right?
Yeah, I
So,
think I've addressed everything, and I've also
oh, you did. Okay.
yes, and I've also upgraded the branch to be based on master, so
Okay.
it's
So
done.
should be good to go. All right. So hopefully that's it, because they yeah, see, they approved. Not sure where it's been today, but okay, I can pin him. Hopefully he can join later. Otherwise, I'll pin him. See if he can just get this merged. And do you have other you saying you're still waiting for the what SLA or is that okay now?
Nope. I talked to our legal last week, and they had to find another person to sign it there because it's been just log jams. So
Okay.
they
All
told
right,
me to expect
so
something within a week.
But we can merge this. It's okay. Sure.
It's going to be okay. So yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, just try to get this merged first, and then we'll figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And do we have any update on the cap, or is the same as before? So last one is Ivan.
Yeah, we
comments.
address all the feedback on the cap. Yeah, I think we the production readiness site is approved.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think at one point Ben also left some comments. I think all of them have been addressed.
Okay, he didn't. Okay, he probably need to come back to the. He was probably focusing on the CSI spec. So okay, we can ask him to take a look on this. Okay. All right. So, and I think okay. So once this merge, then we need to decide whether we're going to request a new repo or what or not. So next action item. Okay.
So Xing, about the new repo, just to recap, like is this something that SIG storage says, oh, you must absolutely have a new repo?
Right.
Or is it just a suggestions or recommendations? Like
you can go listen to the recording. We discussed this last time. That's the decision is we need to have a new repo. I've had to talk about this twice. So
okay, sounds like we must do it this way then, which is fine, right? I just want to confirm we are on the same page with the rest of the group.
Right. The last time is so basically discussion, or should be this consensus for.
So, and just to confirm that
meeting, yes.
we have some commitment on support initially, at least for a new repo. So
okay, all right. So you guys are saying I can go ahead and request one.
Well, I mean, we don't have. I don't know about the whole group, but if I don't have a problem with it at this point. Yeah.
Xing, let's do it, and we can always delete it if it's not the right thing.
Well, we better be sure, right? Otherwise
Well, we discussed help and support it, right, Carl? So
okay.
Yeah.
it's always a matter of scope, but yeah, no, we're signed up.
Okay.
Yeah, no issues with the new repo. I guess it's still a bit unclear, like what does the future holds? Like eventually, is it gonna get reconciled with external snapshotter? Is it gonna stay as a separate repo until it becomes
Oh, it's going to stay.
beta?
It's going to stay there until it's more stable. Then we can figure out next steps, right?
Yeah.
Do people feel better at that time to move this back to snapshot repo, or because now there is also work going on to consolidate all the sidecar repos, so maybe that should go there, right? So
Okay.
that's still unknown because that work kind of started, but then kind of stopped. So
Yeah.
we don't have that yet. Yeah.
That's going to take a long time, I imagine, just
Oh,
like
yeah.
entry deprecation of
Yes.
providers. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so just say request.
It would
Okay.
also be great if you could get an understanding of the expectations from maintainers. What are we supposed to do if you are sign up?
So for the new repo, well, you first, of course, you need to move your code there, and then you need to set up CIs. So you set up CI, you set up, right? Set up CI, follow other CSI sidecar repo convention, the CSI release tools, right? There was a thing, there was this whole thing of how to do release and all of that. CVE, fixes, releases, right? So I wouldn't expect you to have a lot of releases in the beginning, right? So
Sure. And I'm assuming it must be documented somewhere, right?
so how to do
The thing.
how to cut a release? Yeah, yes, that is documented. But we don't really have like a document saying, hey, if you own this repo, what are all the things you need to do? Basically, I'm just writing down here, right? So set up CI, tests, you write tests, and handle, especially when the repo is more established, then you need to follow up with CVs, because if you don't even have a release, then then probably nobody will be opening bugs for you yet, right? You probably have once you have a release, then people will try it, and then they're going to scan the image and they found issues, then you need to follow up with those. We can also set up an automatic. There's also set up, so there are examples from other repos. Automatic, bot, dependency update, basically. Can look at other repo examples. Yeah, so this way, like the library change, normally the CVs will be fixed in a newer version of the library, right? So for other repos, we have the automatic thing set up. So bot will submit a PR, but you just need to go and merge it.
So
Yeah.
Xing, when we cut a release, it has to line up with the Kubernetes release schedule, right? I mean, like, there could be times when we say, okay, we don't have any release, or does that mean like every time Kubernetes releases, then we have to cut a release?
So you basically do the same thing as the other sidecars. We normally will try to cut the release after Kubernetes release. But then in between, if there are like bugs or CVEs especially, then you need to go update it. Or you may need to do a stable release or a patch release.
Okay. All right. Then it can also be the case where we just say, oh yeah, Kubernetes release is coming up, but we don't have any release yet. That kind of thing, right?
This is normally minor, but it could be major. Depends on what that changes, but major or minor. We also have document on when to do a major, when to do minor. Normally it's just minor release. Following AK release. And then patch release when needed. Okay, so I think to you need to give me some names, Git or the GitHub handle. Because if I go request this one, I need to provide those. So if you can come up with a couple of names. We can start with that. We can always add more, but we start with a couple of people. I can just start with, 3 of you have been working on this one, right?
Yep,
I
I
can just add,
nominate them.
is that just add those 3? Is that okay? Because and then we can, if you have other people, then we can add later.
Of course.
Mark,
Yeah,
can you please
sounds good.
follow up we had the email thread about this new repo. Mark, can you please follow up in the email thread with the GitHub handles?
I didn't catch that totally, Daniel. I'll follow up with you offline.
Okay.
Sorry.
Or
Yeah.
maybe Carl. Yeah.
Yeah, on our side, you can put me down as a maintainer. I'm trying to find another person to help out, but I'll let you know, Xing.
Yeah, but we also don't want to add too many people, then they're not really doing any work then, right? So
Yeah,
want to
it's
make sure
depending.
who adds name, then this person will actually do the work, right? So
Oh
as
yeah, for
I don't
sure.
want to flood this list with too many people, right? Just
Ivan, Carl, and
give me a
Prasad.
couple.
Yeah.
Carl,
Is
what about
Daniel?
Prasad?
Daniel.
And Prasad.
Maybe we just put 2 from each side. Car, does this work for Car? Can I put Car and the Prasad's name since you guys have been working on this?
Sure.
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, then later on, if you can have other people can start submit PRs, then we can gradually add other people, right? But maybe it makes sense to start with the 3 of you since you have already been working on this. Other people, if they want to join, they can start submitting PRs, then we can add them later. I think that's better than just adding too many names, then nobody is actually doing anything. Okay. Just say start with. Okay. Can you help me by just putting your GitHub handles so I don't have to go search for them? Okay.
Yep, sure, will do.
All right. Okay, anything else for this? Okay. Now, so last time Tom gave a very good presentation on volume replication, but we didn't really get a chance to have any discussions because we are running out of time. So, yeah, so we can discuss this today. Are there any questions from last time? I'm sure maybe people need to refresh memory a little bit. So maybe Tom, you want to give a summary? Because people need to add this again.
Yeah, I guess the brief summary would be we support right now 3 different kinds of replication: metro, sync, and async. We have basically a replication consistency group. Dell replication group is a CRD that allows actions, link actions on it, and volumes are associated with that CRD or an instance of that CRD to become a member, much like snapshots and volume groups. The link states and what you can do are somewhat specific to the type of replication and even the implementation of the arrays. Our arrays aren't all consistent in what they support or do necessarily. We went a simple way of implementing a PV for each side of the replication. that has some advantages in making it clear to the user what volume is actually being used, but makes it more difficult in terms of having to manage failovers. They have to actually end up switching PVs sometimes to the replicated PV instead of the regular PV. So I gave some thoughts on things that might be first class items in the storage class. I don't know if we want to consider standardization of this. Implementations range from very simple replication that, in terms of how it's specified, that's just say, for example, synchronous replication, and you just specify the number of replicas. A number of storage providers provide that. So that really doesn't need a lot of management or detail.
When you say you have this, so this CSR application group, so you have this one CR that works for all three cases, right?
We don't.
No? Oh.
Let me think. Yes, that's right.
One CRD.
We only have one CRD. That's
Okay.
correct.
But then you, okay, then you have different parameters, and are they all first class parameters? I guess that part was not clear to me.
So the action, I would put it this way, not all arrays support all actions.
Okay, so basically you don't really have like some class like parameters hidden under that. You're not using that one, right? I don't see a replication group class that had all the like the storage class. You don't have that. So everything is a first class parameter, right? Oh, you actually have this one. What is this? Request parameters. Oh, you have this here. But those are okay. So those are first class parameters. The remote cluster ID. Okay, so all of those are, and then you have things hidden under this parameter class, which is probably different for the three, each of the
Can
three
be different.
cases. Okay. But these are kind of shared, okay, basically the protection group ID, okay. Do you create just, okay, I have a question for this one. Do you just have one protection group ID for the whole pair, or do you have another one on the other array, or is it just one, this protection group ID?
I'm not sure about the I think the ID might be different, but the name would be the same.
Okay.
For the replication group, if you're thinking, I have to think about that. I'm not sure. I'd probably have to check.
Okay, because I see this one here. So I don't know if you are also creating this object. Do you create this one on the remote side as well, or just one group?
Yes, no, we create it symmetrically.
Oh, on both sides. Okay.
Unless it's the stretch cluster.
Okay, so basically, okay, on the other side, it's kind of like the information will be kind of reversed, right? Because this one, okay. So, because I remember seeing this one, I only remember this talks about the volume, but I don't remember this has the group created on the other side, or is that this one? Okay, let's see.
That's that one, yeah.
Oh, okay, because I do remember seeing
the Dell replication controller has tokens or identities in which to essentially clone the replication group CRD to the other clusters.
So basically this controller understands this pairing, one is local.
Right. We have a controller that we call it the Dell's replication controller. It works across clusters, and we have a different sidecar that we just call the CSI replicator that you can see there in the third column.
This is also on both, deployed on both sides?
That
Is-
is associated with the driver, the controller side of the driver. So
Okay.
it's a true sidecar. It does not speak to the other cluster.
Okay, but on the other cluster, you also have this. It's on the other
Yeah,
cluster
the
that's
driver
local.
is
Yeah.
installed on the other cluster,
Okay.
although I didn't show it all there. So all the components of the left side are basically also on the right side
Okay.
as the
Okay.
CSI driver is installed there.
I see. I see. I see. Dave will raise hand. Dave, you have a question?
Yeah, so for the protection group ID, is that something then that's defined? You go to the arrays and set that up, and then you kind of bring that as the admin and you know it? Or is there a way to discover that?
The array generates, well, or the driver generates the protection group, and then we make basically an instance of this CRD to represent it. The protection group itself is known to both arrays in a similar kind of pairing relationship.
I guess I'm kind of thinking like, I mean, two different things. One is, could you configure it, could you configure the arrays to talk to each other via Kubernetes, which would be kind of like, maybe more than you need. But two, could you discover what protection groups exist, what arrays, what you could possibly do through the Kubernetes APIs rather than having to go out of band and know this and then bring it back to Kubernetes, and if that makes sense.
So this is like a dynamic provision, right?
Yeah,
the
this is
drawing
dynamic
So
provisioning.
Dave, are you more talking about static provisioning case that something already exists on the array then you want to import it
Well, no,
back?
because you've got two arrays, right? But how do you
Yeah.
know
Oh,
that
the pairing. Is that in
this is
the
available, right? And what the metro setup and all the
that
rest
in
of
the-
that could be.
So there's
parameters?
information not shown that the
Oh.
driver maintains about what other arrays a particular array is paired with.
Do you
That's
have
not
do-
that's
do-
not a protection group though. That's general. This array can talk to that array.
is
And then
that
when you
under
go to when
is
you
that
go to
information hidden on the parameter class or no? Like or is it just so here we have the ID. Is this oh no, this is Kubernetes. Okay, sorry. This is Kubernetes cluster ID, remote cluster ID. Do you have the remote
yeah, that's the idea of the cluster.
So I see here, what is this? Is this one has something like the link state. What about the array ID, or is that hidden under parameters class, or is that so how? Yeah, I guess maybe the Dave's question, like how does he know what other array? So this is configured where?
So internally, the arrays know what they're paired with, and that's a prerequisite of kind of deploying the solution. We could expose that information, but we don't really. What happens is the first time you go to create a volume and you mark it as replicated, if a CRD doesn't exist for the essentially the replication group, it's created dynamically. So it's not something that's pre-provisioned.
Right.
Okay, so
I guess
then
I'm trying to think of like, say we tried to set up a replication feature in K10, and we'd want to, expose things to the users and say, hey, you want to protect this application. We're going to go ahead and mirror your disks. But we would want to be able to say, okay, where are we going to mirror them to? What are your options?
Right. We have that information, and but I didn't expose it here. Right now it's all in the driver, the different selections of where it can be. And the user basically has to know that it's supplied as options in the storage class.
Okay,
so
no
it's
need to rat
actually-
hole on this.
All right, so it's actually under, okay, so it's a CSI driver kind of knows this from the storage class itself, but not in the the replica, not in this. Here we cannot tell, but when you create a volume,
You can-
CSML kind of look at its configuration, knows it. Right?
So I don't know that I showed the volumes here, but the volumes are all annotated with which replication group they're a part of.
Okay.
And they're also, yeah, you can see that here, and they're.
Oh,
well,
maybe
the-
can we take a look of this one, see what this is your okay storage class. So maybe this has some information we are looking
Yeah.
for, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can see under the parameters there that we know whether we're replicating to a different remote system. That's down at the remote system near the
Mhm.
bottom, and you can see the remote storage pool. And we
Oh, okay.
even have a cluster
Oh,
ID.
here.
Yep,
This-
we have a cluster ID which says which cluster, that's the Kubernetes cluster name
Kubernetes,
essentially.
Mhm.
That
this
can be
is the-
self if it's a stretch cluster.
Okay, so that can be, but this is the array, right? This is storage remote system, right?
Yeah,
So this is
that's
like
the array identifier.
ID, something like
Yep.
PowerMax, or I don't know what this one is. Yeah.
Well, the driver only supports one kind of array. We have
Oh,
a separate driver for each array type.
okay. So it knows. Okay, it's going to figure out CSI. Okay, VX flex. Okay, I don't know what is VX. Okay. Okay, but anyway, it knows basically when it looks at this ID, it knows what that means. And the prefix pool. Also, oh, this is the local, and this is the remote. Okay, so there's a
That's
system
right.
ID. So that's the array pair, basically.
That's correct.
All right, so we have it.
So it's in the storage class.
Mm.
I don't recall particularly if that information is also duplicated in the replication consistency group.
Okay, so it looks like you use everything's configured in storage class. So it looks like you do not need. So because you don't have something like a protection group class, but you actually have that for the per volume base has this one already. It's under storage class. Okay.
So you can specify the name here. I don't know if this one has it in here. It's possible to specify the replication consistency group on the array in the storage class, but the actual CRD gets created dynamically as part of the provisioning operation, and then that CRD gets essentially mirrored to the other array in a reverse so that they're symmetric.
So do you
reverse.
basically, I see this one. So do you basically, if someone specifies,
Yeah,
then it's going
that's
to
the
be
replication consistency group name.
okay, then it will be part of the group, and then this group will be dynamically provisioned.
Yep.
Okay.
It can be. I mean, after the first volume, obviously, it's not.
Oh yeah,
but
after that it's okay. And then if it's so that okay, but then that also means for every you will need to have a different storage class for every group, isn't it? Because you're not supposed to change the parameter for the same class, right?
Right. We don't change the parameter.
Okay, so that you would need to have multiple.
Yeah, you conceivably could have a lot of different storage classes if you wanted a lot of different groups to manage the volumes.
Okay. So okay, so those two so has different parameters, but this also has like the ID, right? The remote ID and the okay, so this is RDF. This is okay. This is PowerMax. Okay, RDF. So okay, I was now from here. When you say okay, I guess one thing is, but it's actually you want to. Oh, so you actually create one. You don't really create that this replication group. first? You start with PV individual
You
volume.
start with creating the volumes. You have to, and then the replication group is
Okay, created.
yeah.
And then you basically, when you create a second volume, it's going to find that if it's already
Yep.
created, it's going to find it. Oh, I see what it is. Okay. You don't, okay, so basically you don't start with it, but it's actually very interesting. Okay, like that. A car has a question.
Yeah, I have a question on that consistency group on the previous slide. So in this model, does the consistency groups span multiple namespaces, or is it within a namespace?
That's the user's choice.
Right, because storage classes are not a user's choice and they are global.
Right.
But potentially putting a namespaced thing in a global object, right? Is that the model used over here?
Namespace thing in a global object.
You know,
The storage, if they use the same storage class, they would get put in the same protection group.
okay.
So
All right.
namespace is a Kubernetes level thing, right? So the array should still be able to protect it, I guess.
Yes.
It's not going to be affected by a Kubernetes namespace, right?
It does affect, though, the scope of your link operations. So
Okay.
conceivably, if you mixed volumes from several different namespaces into the same protection group, and then you did a failover, you're failing over all three of those volumes at the same time.
Okay. So this is not a Kubernetes object in this reference over here. All right.
No, it's a CRD.
Sure. Okay, get it. Thank you.
You could consider volume groups or something like them as a sort of replacement for them. Of course, at the time we made this, volume groups didn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what got me thinking about the namespace. You know, I think volume groups are namespace. Xing, is that correct?
Volume group, we don't have volume group, right? We removed that one. So we only have volume group snapshot.
So much from my understanding.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have volume group snapshot, that is namespace. Yeah, volume group supposed to be namespace, yes. But then there is also we have volume group snapshot content, that is not namespace.
Yeah, content understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right.
So I mean, it just
But
caught
this
my
one you only have one, right? So you don't use two, you just have one replication group, right? You don't have like a content, like second.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Just one.
Okay. So, and then when they do fail over, okay, so do you have like some other CRDs that you allow them to run to do failover?
Now, if you'll go back to I think it's the next page, you'll see there's next page down. Maybe that was it. You'll see there's an action, and then there's a status.
This is the Soji class, maybe not here, right?
Not there. We're looking for the RCG.
Oh, here, execution action. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So this is the replication group. CSI, no, this is CSI extension.
I'm sorry?
This is CSI extension. This is not the Kubernetes.
Yeah, but those actions are all available as an action in the CRD. And then the CRD.
Oh, I see the CRD. Okay. So I see your action. So this action, you mean, okay, so you will have a failover. So if someone, they basically need to change this action then?
Yes, absolutely you can. The controller is listening for dynamic changes there, and then it will update a status that says.
What is the default? So when you create this, what is the default action? Like when you just.
There's no default action in the beginning. It's
empty?
Basically empty, yeah.
Okay, then you run this and then so failover. So you say failover, but then after that, does this change the back? I mean, what will be the status after that? It remains so you say failover, I say failover remote.
It ends up being the last action.
Okay, so it's going to be this one, but along with that, there is also status too. So you know
Yeah, there's
the
a status,
status
so you know
is
if it
actually-
completed.
I see. Okay, okay. Okay. All right. And then for so and okay, and then this you can also you delete when you delete, do you have to delete one volume at a time? You don't really delete the group, right?
We don't have a group deletion operator. So yeah, the deletion is handled by standard, standard deletion of the PVC PV works.
Okay.
The physical representation of the replication group usually stays on the array. It can be empty, but arrays wouldn't have to implement it that way.
Okay.
So it's possible that you could have an empty replication sitting, replication group that was sitting there from before. You emptied all the volumes, then you came back and added volumes, and it would reuse it.
Okay. So I wonder, so in your case, right? So you're saying if somebody add in this group, you'd be part of the group. So if they do not add this, then it will be just individual volume replication?
If they don't specify a name and there's no group, the driver will name it arbitrarily.
Oh, so you still will be put everything in a group.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't really have like individual volume replication without a group, basically.
Not in our current implementations.
Okay. Yeah, because I
No.
was wondering if
There are
Mhm.
provisioners available that do, individual volume replication.
Right. I was just thinking, let's say if we want to, add this in Kubernetes, should we just go directly to the groups instead of have to do individual volume replication first and then to the group replication? So if it's just individual volume, then we just put that one volume in a group. So we don't have to have like two APIs, one for individual volume replication, one for the group, maybe just one.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about what it might look like if it were generalized and put into Kubernetes, I think of it sort of like the volume snapshot group and then the volume snapshot content as a model, perhaps.
Right. Yeah, I guess
And we certainly could implement operators that deleted all the volumes in a group, for example. It's just we haven't had any need to do that.
Yeah. That's fine. I mean, I probably if we can do it with less, that'll be better because we're adding a lot of APIs. It's kind of going to be harder to get everybody to agree on the design.
Right.
Like even like this, right? If you look at all of this, if we have to hide all of this here, yeah, I guess.
Well, and if you compare that with the Metro storage class, you see they're really vastly different.
Yeah. So that's the tricky thing about generalize this, right? Even this is all supported by you, and then it's still very different. Then you think about other vendors, it be even more different, right? Okay, so in that case, we need to hide something under parameters, and then the first class parameters. Let's see.
Somewhere I made I had a list of what I thought good first class parameters might be.
Is that here in here?
It's in the deck somewhere. I don't remember where. Let me thumb through and I'll try and find the page.
Okay, if we want to standardize, this is
Yeah.
Replication mode, okay, number of replicas. status field. Yeah, I think this might be even hard to get consensus on the status. Maybe we'll have slightly different terms.
Well, I don't know. I thought normal, degraded, and rebuilding was pretty generic, but
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so those are, yeah, I think probably makes sense. But I see you also have something, there's something else, right? What is this? What are these attributes that you cannot put them under the parameters class? What are those attributes? Do you have some examples here?
I didn't include any. I could get you some.
Okay.
And I don't remember offhand.
Okay.
An example might be the RPO,
RPO. Okay.
recover pointed
That's
objective.
not okay.
Yeah.
I thought that's in stored class. I thought let's see here.
Yeah, it's in the storage class,
Okay.
but it's probably also in the replication group CRD.
Okay. I think I have another question. So yeah, so that one is only for the volumes. What about all those other metadata? Do you have another way of replicating those? So,
I mean, you're talking about
like,
PVCs and
let's
PVs
you
and Kubernetes
and
objects.
not
Yeah.
PVCs, but like the PVCs, that sounds like there's a way, but you have that group. But what about other things like pods? If you have like a safer set or something, some other.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we asked the user to either manually replicate them or deploy on the secondary side using, say, their original Helm chart or C or D, or we can replicate them with Valero.
Okay.
So pretty much the standard stuff that everyone does about that. I mean, Valero's a very common solution.
Right, but if you use Valero, then when you restore, they also will try to restore the data, right? But I mean, I guess that part I was not sure how you say data you want to use your replication group, but then metadata you use that one. You just skip that, or what do you?
We don't use Valero to copy the replication group or the PVCs or the PVs. The underlying, that replication controller will copy the Dell replication group and the underlying PVCs and PVs to the alternate cluster.
So you basically just ask Valero to skip the PVs,
Yeah,
and then ask it to replicate the rest of the metadata, basically. Okay. Okay. So control, okay, synchronous. So this one you only have your application deployed on one side. This side is only data. This one looks different because
well, it's asynchronous, so yeah, you have to do a failover, and you would move the application to the other side after you did a failover. I didn't show it there just for brevity, probably.
Okay, I see. That's what you mean. Okay.
The two applications can't run concurrently.
Okay, I see. Okay. Okay, this one is just too complicated, so it's not. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay. Okay, yes, I think this is great. So we need to think about it. So I see that Trey is also here. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on this because you have this implemented in for NetApp, right? Trident?
Yeah, hey, yeah, definitely still kind of digesting the Dell implementation here and making sure I understand it. I think it's making sense for the most part. Yeah, we have it implemented fairly differently in Trident
Okay.
for NetApp, and I have a presentation I put together that I can
Okay.
show in the next meeting. I think
Yeah, that would be great, right? We'll just look at the differences and see. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you're approaching this as well.
Sure. Yeah, happy to talk through it. I kind of mostly put it together as, you know, how you use our replication feature. I didn't go much into the details of the implementation, but yeah, happy to share that next time.
Yeah, that'd be fun
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah. So let me add this. Okay. See. Yeah. I think that'll be good.
And I think I included pointers to all our open source repositories. All this information is derived from either our open source code or documentation. So if you're missing a piece or can find a piece and you want to look at it, you're welcome to reach out.
I see you. Oh, here. Okay. So this is this is the CSI. And then did you put the driver? Is that in the same repo or is it a different repo?
The driver's in a different repo. I thought I put some of those repositories in there, but maybe not. If you want them, reach out and I'll give you pointers to the repositories.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So basically, there's a repo for each of the drivers. There's a repo for the CSI extensions that connect the sidecar to the driver. And then there's a replication repo that contains the sidecar and the global controller.
Okay, yeah, so like I only see this one here.
Yeah, that's the one that contains what I just said, the sidecar and the global controller.
See. Okay. I'll pin you for this one added here. Yeah, this is great. So are there other questions regarding this? If not, you have a few minutes back, then we can talk about, we can look at the NetApp implementation in the next meeting.
I was going to say, after Trey's implementation, I think my question would be, is there a lot of need or interest in trying to standardize?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, let's see. You are two are totally different. Then we probably need to think about it, right? Does it if we have a common
Yeah, I
approach,
mean,
does it work
I
for-
tried to give a little thought to what a standard might look like, but I haven't thought about it in huge amounts of detail or spent huge amounts of time on it.
Okay.
They were, I was trying to pass some of the pain points and some of the good and some of the bad in our implementation and try and imagine what would be universal. But we could we could have discussions in that direction
Yeah.
if we wanted to,
Yeah, I
if
think
there's interest.
that's going to be the biggest question is, yeah, is there enough in common across these different systems that it's worthwhile or useful to have the standard if they're all different.
But is that still good to listen to what you have done, right? And then at least can learn from and see what is the best way moving forward. I mean, if the conclusion is each person, each vendor just do their own thing, then maybe we just can just share some thoughts and. But if we can standardize, of course, that's better. But we'll see if there is a way to standardize, or maybe we can have I don't know, have like a simplified way somehow that can be used by everybody. I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely worth the discussion. I was curious. It looks like the next instance of this meeting falls during KubeCon.
Oh, then we need to cancel that one. Then probably will be after KubeCon. Yeah, we'll check if it's a KubeCon. Yeah, I think probably that's the next meeting, right? It's a week of the 18th, 19th. Yeah. Then we will cancel that. Normally we cancel the meeting during KubeCon, but if it's after KubeCon, then we can have the meeting. So we'll check.
Sounds good.
Actually, take a quick. Yeah, I think that's exactly in that week, the 20th, right? That's the KubeCon week. So we'll cancel next weekend. So it's going to be April 3rd. Will be. So let's say. I'll put a date here. April 3rd. Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Oh, anybody going to KubeCon here?
Yep, I'll be there.
Oh, yeah, then should meet there. We have a session for the data protection working group. Yeah, so we can meet over there.
Sounds good. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. All right. Then that's it for today then. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Xing.
Bye.
Thanks.